Hey Matt, how are you able to reach so many people? Well, stick around and find out. Welcome to part two of my Marketing for Practitioners workshop and series of videos. If you haven't checked out the first one yet, I strongly encourage that you start with that one because we're going to be building on stuff from that original video. So check out part one first, and then you can pick up right here. Okay, so how do I connect with so many people? How do I reach so many people? I'm going to be sharing with you what's worked for me, what's worked for me over the years, and what's really helped me to build this community and network of people that you see today. So probably one of the biggest things that we kind of have lost sight of is connecting in this physical space. Okay, and I'm going to go through some of the ways that I connect with people in that physical space and why that's so important. It's kind of what people are looking for, especially after COVID. People are craving that physical connection, and it doesn't matter if it's in a phone call. It doesn't matter if it's in walking or doing like going to a fair, going to an expo, something like that, a conference, or even different community events, all different ways to kind of make those connections. So we're going to go through some of those today. So stay tuned. All right, so more than half of my clients, the people that actually become clients, come through this way of a physical connection through something. And what I find a lot of people find me through is a lot of the classes, a lot of the events that I offer, different community get-togethers, classes, retreats, workshops. First of all, they get a feel for me. They kind of know what they're getting into already. They know if this is for them or not. And on a deeper level, on a soul level, they're able to really pick up energetically if this is something they should keep following and if this is right for them. So they have that like almost deep inner knowing that you're not going to get in other ways. So you can put an ad out there and most people aren't going to be like, oh, hey, that's the guy I need to see. I mean, that does happen, but not to this extent and not to the level of being able to take them through an experience. First of all, they get a taste for what you do. So they already kind of know what they're getting into. They've already worked through some of their stuff. So by the time they get to you, there's already that trust, there's already that rapport. You already have that, energetic rapport with the person, a lot less walls up, and they're just more open, more ready. So your clients are going to be better, and they know who you are. Okay, they got a sense of who you are. They can kind of feel you out, and then they just kind of are stepping into that next step for them. And if they're not your people, if it's not a match, awesome. There's not a lot of like high stakes. So because they can come to an event for $20 or for free, they can try it out, and if it's a fit for them, they'll know pretty quick. All right, so this has really helped me a lot. But in addition to connecting with the clients, I've also been able to connect with a lot of business owners. And we talked about in the last video about doing these collaborations. And this has allowed me to be very nomadic. I think I used the word slutty in the live video that I did, but really it allowed me to explore more spaces, connect with more pockets of people, and really create this network across this area of people that really weren't talking to each other. And this has really paid off in the long run, not only for the clients, but also, like I said, these professional contacts. And this has sparked some new collaborations like, hey, I do sound stuff. Do you want to do a thing together? Sure, awesome. Right? So saying yes to a lot of those opportunities has really paid off as well. So there are different ways that I run groups. So I'm just going to go through this just briefly. So I do paid events. That's awesome. So it's a good way to not only generate revenue, but also to get people in the door. And it also makes them kind of commit to the process. And they're more like energetically invested in that process by paying for an event. I also like to do stuff donation based. When I started out in the beginning, I was learning, I was growing. So I was just like, hey, whatever you think this is worth for you, yeah, feel free to donate for that. And honestly, people are giving me more than I would have asked from them anyway. So sometimes you can do even a suggested donation, so people have an idea of, hey, what's a good donation. Sometimes people like to know that. What I like about that is you're not excluding anyone, and if people feel that they really benefited from that, they'll end up giving you more. And it actually helped me to find my own value, my own self-worth. So it actually worked out beautifully. Okay. What I like about that too, if you're not fully established, you don't have to collect payments for an event. Just whoever shows up and whatever they want to give, there's like kind of no strings attached. Was really helpful for me in the beginning, and I probably did that for the first couple of years. That's all I did was just donation only events. Okay. With the downside of that is if you have like a limited space, what happens is if you're doing, especially with free events, I was actually just talking about this with someone today. If you're doing free events and people are signed up, they didn't pay anything yet, they don't feel the need to show up. So I had one of the last events I did, I had about 2/3 of the people not show up that were signed up. And I had to turn people away because of the limited space. So what they were doing is actually taking a space from someone else. So you do run into that problem, and there are some ways that you can kind of get around that, but just something to be aware of when you're doing things for free. Another thing that I like to do in addition to the paid events, the donation events, I also like to do some of these community givebacks. So these are things that I'm not paid for, but I do get, it is like you're putting that energy into that, and the universe sees that. It sees all of it. So just putting that energy out and saying, "Hey, thank you, community, for what you've provided for me." I'll give you an example of one of these things. So this was a collaboration. It was also a community give back. So we did an event in the park, and I met up with another friend who does like plays the flute. His wife plays sound bowls and does sound therapy. I did a guided meditation. We had a beautiful day out in the park, and whoever wanted to join could join. There was a couple that came with a picnic blanket and had set out wine, and they just listened, and it was like I'm like, this is so cool. So you're gonna make a lot of money from that? No, but that's not the whole point. Like I think we did donations for that, but the whole point wasn't to make money off of it. It was just to like give back to the community. One of the other ways that I've been into is actually working with inmates. Okay, am I gonna make any money from that? No. People would probably say I'm crazy for doing it, but like I see a need there, and those people aren't able to have access to this any other way. So that's one of the ways that I can give back to the community, and that all comes back to you. Okay. All right, so some of the other ways that I've connected with people and reached a lot of people, one is through wellness fairs, different expos. And if you're in other fields, it really doesn't matter. This applies to really anyone. Different conferences, it's a great way to network with people. It's a great way to get established. Relatively inexpensive, at least for the ones in this area. Some of the bigger events and stuff obviously are going to charge you more. But usually under $100 for a booth for a whole weekend or for a day at one of these events. Not only do you get to meet people from that area that come through that are wanting to learn more about this, you have a select target audience. You also are surrounded by some amazing people, some amazing like vendors on the vendor side of it that you can collaborate with, that you can form these networks with, and I encourage you to be both on the participant side as well as the vendor side, because some places I've gone to, I've actually made more connections being a participant than hiding behind a table and sharing what I had. So kind of play around on both sides of this. When you're going to these fairs too, it's not just showing up. Okay, some people will go there and I'm like, get off your damn phone. Okay, you're there to connect to the people. No one wants to just look at a bunch of pieces of paper you have laid out while you sit there and do something on Facebook on your phone. Okay, be active. I don't even sit down the whole 8 hours that I'm at these events because I'm constantly engaging with people. Probably a little too much sometimes. Hey, sir, where do you think you're going? Because I'm excited about what I do. I love what I do. I love sharing it. I've gotten better at reading people. I can tell if they're just cruising through or not ready to talk. But actively engage in them. Be a good listener. Ask them, hey, what's going on? Give them a little information about what you do. Okay. We're going to talk about some more of these things down the road of how to connect with people, but I always go back to the main intentions. How do I add value? What are you providing that adds value to this person's life? Okay, so one of the things that I put out is a sheet of physical symptoms along with their metaphysical meanings. Hey, if you have an issue with your arms? What are you hanging on to? What are you not letting go of? Um, so that they can understand how the message system of the body works. Awesome. You've just given them a tool that they can take home with them, that they can keep when they want to reference something or that they can look through. That will add value to their life. What did that cost you? A penny to put that out? Okay. That is awesome because they're going to take that with them. And on there, I also have a link to not only my website, but hey, here's some more free resources. I have a whole YouTube page that teaches you about self healing. Here's a whole playlist you can access that will guide you through this process of actually healing these things. Awesome. Didn't cost me anything. Cost me a sheet of paper. Okay, and that's something that you can give them that they can take with them that will add value to their life. I also put out meditation CDs. This is a suggestion of a friend of mine. I'm like, no one's gonna listen to a CD, but I was surprised. Some people were telling me, oh yeah, I don't want to like listen to my phone at night when I go to bed, but if I can just put a CD in the CD player, I can fall asleep to that and I don't have to worry about when it shuts off. Oh, cool. Didn't know that was going to be as big of a hit since a lot of people don't even have CD players anymore. But that's been really amazing. And it cost me a couple pennies to make a CD, to burn a CD of a meditation I already made. Like, really was not that much extra other than the time burning CDs. Not that bad. Um, Another thing I do is have my card tied to a stick of Palo Santo. So, great conversation piece. People are like, oh, what's this wood? They smell it. And there you go. Hey, it's for clearing energy. Are you familiar with that? So, and all of a sudden you have a conversation piece. You can start the conversation there. Then when they get home, they don't have a stack of business cards. They're just going in the garbage. Yours stands out because it's attached to this stick, even if they don't understand what that's for. So you can demonstrate how to use this as a good teaching tool, a good learning tool. And now they have one card that stood out of all of them. And hey, it's the one with my face on it. And what did a stick of Palo Santo cost? 15, 20 cents if you're buying them in bulk. Um, I think I just got the last batch on eBay for got like 12 pounds of them for pretty inexpensive. All right. And so, yeah, they can take that with them. Yeah. The other thing is, we talked about this in the last video, but it's going in with the intention of selling without selling. Okay, going in with the intention maybe just to connect with people. My intention now is to just have fun. When I'm having fun, that holds a certain vibration and people are just naturally drawn to you. Okay. Um, Sometimes there are opportunities to give presentations, to speak at these events, and I highly encourage that you do that. Not only is it going to make you better at getting in front of people, talking to people, you're also sharing what you came here to share. I don't sell anything at these vendor fairs. I'm just sharing information. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Of course, I'm gonna want to speak at these things. You have a target audience that has your undivided attention, and we get to talk about my favorite subject, me. No, and the work that I can provide and how this, once again, can add value to their life. Even if they never work with you, you've just given them that little nugget, you've planted those seeds for them, and opened their mind to so much more. So don't discount any of that. Always jump at those opportunities, especially if they're just an added thing. I don't know why more people don't do that, but I think it's just like the fear of getting in front of people, the fear of sharing stuff, but like that's what you came to do. That's why you're at the fair to begin with. So go all out. All right, now a little bit about advertising. Advertising is so huge, and a lot of people overlook this, myself included. I put all this energy into making all these events, and I kind of would get bogged down because I'd have so many events. It'd be like, I don't know, 2 a week that I couldn't advertise them efficiently, effectively, and sometimes I wouldn't even advertise them at all because I was so busy doing events that I didn't take the time to advertise those. So if you're like me, you don't have a person that advertises for you. So divvying up your time, put as much time into advertising the event as you do the actual event. Okay, so this can include, we're going to talk about all this later, but I will break this down into the social media platforms. Okay, that's a great way to advertise. And to reach people, connect with people. And we'll talk about that in detail, how to do all that stuff in the upcoming videos. But for now, just know that social media is invaluable in getting the word out and reaching people. Okay. In addition to that, I also create physical flyers. Physical flyers are great because I can bring them to all my events. And I used to just talk about them, talk about the events, but then you know how when you go to a movie and they have all the trailers for the movies at the beginning of the movie, you're like, oh, that looks so good, we should see that. Oh, that looks so good, we should see that. And then you get out of the movie and they're like, what were those movies at the beginning? You don't remember what they were because you don't have anything to like take with you. I usually write them down if they really stand out, but it's kind of the same thing. So when people get home, they're like, "Oh my gosh, that event was so good! I want to go to more stuff like that." All of a sudden, they have a list of your upcoming events. Okay. I also do advertising through my email list, and I also do advertising on my website. But for now, like we'll just kind of leave it at that. So the physical flyers I hand out at every event, but I also leave them at places where I do the events. So people are more than happy to usually put out flyers for events because they love sharing. Just that we talked about that with network of people. They love sharing some of the upcoming things, even if it's not at their place. These upcoming opportunities where they can send people that are coming in looking for help. Okay. In addition to putting all my events on my page, I also have a list of all the fairs in the state of Wisconsin. Do I make money on that? No. Does it take a lot of time? Yes. Especially, I think there's 80 right now that I have just for the state of Wisconsin for the year. And takes time, but when I started doing this, I didn't know about any fairs for probably a year, year and a half, even though they were out there. And it wasn't until I did my first fair and kind of got in that circuit that you start becoming aware of these. I'm still finding new ones. And by putting that out there, people are constantly going to my page. I'm brought to the front of their awareness, their attention, but I'm also providing that service for people. And it's been awesome. All right, by far and away, word of mouth has been the best. In the beginning, you got to do all these things to kind of get yourself rolling, kind of gain that momentum. But asking people to share your work. So one of the things that I usually do, I'm just going to use what I say at the end of my things. People are people are kind of in that afterglow of the session anyway, so you can use kind of like a post hypnotic suggestion. And I'll say something like, hey, if you feel this benefited you, feel free to let other people know. And I usually hand them a couple cards. Okay, now they have a physical thing that they can give to someone else that they think could benefit from this. And I encourage them to go to my videos first. Because no commitment, and if people resonate with it, they'll come for deeper work. So I usually try to start them there. So I hand them a card. It has my YouTube channel. We'll talk more about business cards in the upcoming parts, but handing them something physical that they can give out to people that they think would benefit. Sometimes when I've asked people, they'll ask for more cards. Oh, I do therapy with people, and I would love to send people to you that I'm kind of stuck with. Fantastic. Here's a pile. Okay. By far the best money you will ever spend. That stack of cards that you hand someone. Okay. And the word of mouth, especially for this work that's so abstract, and how do you tell someone that like what this even is? You can't running a full page ad in a paper is not gonna not nearly gonna be as effective as, hey, my brother told me that he had a session with you, it was amazing, and he said I would greatly benefit from this, so that's why I'm here. Way better. All right, because they're hearing it from someone they trust, someone they know, and if a person's excited about it and really like jazzed up about it, it's going to be contagious. I've gotten probably 40 clients from one person just because they were so their life was so transformed from the work that we did that they told everyone and their neighbors and everyone, their family and all their clients. And yeah, super cool to have that, and really no exchange compared to anything else. It's like the best thing you can possibly have. It does take a little while to kind of build that momentum where it's kind of self-sustaining and people are hearing it more about from each other. So as this has happened, I kind of phased back, pushing myself so hard to put out groups, to really get out there, like almost like the hustle or the grind of doing things, because it's now it's got its own, it's like this living organism, and it's constantly growing, constantly expanding, and people are keeping it alive. So it's pretty cool to watch how it works. All right. Another thing you can do that I forget to do sometimes myself is to ask for reviews. Ask for reviews, ask for testimonials. people are always gonna like almost always gonna say yes, but you got to catch them right away because a couple weeks go by, they're like, oh yeah, they're not still in that high vibration that you left them in. So I usually ask for it right away, and maybe send them a reminder. Hey, and not be pushy, but just say, hey, if you feel this benefited you, I'd be really appreciate it if you could leave me a review. People do it. People do what you ask for. Um, I think on my website I had like 50, maybe 100 reviews. And people are asking me, "Oh, how'd you get so many people to do testimonials and reviews for you?" And like, I just asked them. And like everyone, I'd say probably three-quarters of the people sent me a review, sent me a testimonial. Um, so you just ask. Also, with video testimonials, people are more than happy to help you out. And you could even give them, pay them. Hey, no pressure, but if you want to do a video testimonial, be happy to give you, $50 or a gift certificate for something, or maybe you have an item that you'd want to give them. I didn't even do that. I just asked them, and people are more than happy to do a little testimonial right after their session. They're still in that afterglow of the session, and that really shines through. So catching them right at that time when they're kind of on that high, and that's going to carry through into your video. People are going to feel that on a deep level, and people are like, yes, I want that. I don't know what that is, but I want that. And that's what's really gonna propel you. All right. One of the big things that I get in this world, we'll just kind of wrap it up from here. One of the big things that I get in from questions from other people, people will tell me, well, I've been listed on this directory, I've been listed on this website, and no one's calling me. Like, okay. For me, it was the QHHT listing, and I would say probably I get maybe 1% of my clients from that listing. You can't differentiate one person from the next, other than people are probably going to pick the person that's geographically closest to them. And that's about all you have going for you. But really, they don't know you from a hole in the wall. So don't rely on those things for getting your clients. Okay, that's only going to give you a little bit of a boost, but if you're depending on that and waiting for people to come solely from that, it's not going to happen. So doing all these other things is where you're going to get the clients. Okay. All right, we'll wrap it up from there, and we'll jump into the next part on the next section. So thank you for watching, and we'll dive more into like the social media and different platforms that you can grow on. A lot of good specific information that I've learned over the years with that, so definitely check that one out next. And thanks again for watching.